Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are once again in Fremont Palace for Game 2 of the FBA Finals. Joining me in the booth once again is Matt Lewis. How you doing, Matt?
I'm good. It's nice to be back, and I'm ready for this next game of insanity. Uh, uh, Not to be too uh, crazed or anything, but the atmosphere here is has shifted completely since game one, and I think you know why.
Very much so. Your completely hot take of Vegas winning in four might be cast or cursed as Bangor took Game 1 on the road, and now the fans are. There's a tension, like you said, in the air with the fans because everyone knows that there is no choice but to win tonight, or else the series might as well be over. I don't think a team can come back from being down 2-0 to head to your opponent's court to have that pressure of needing to win at least one, or else you're out.
Right, and I didn't take a look at the stats book like I should have in full details. I'm not sure if there ever has been a team in FBA history to start, you know, the home, have the home field advantage, so to speak, and lose both of those games in the finals and then end up winning the series. So this is, historically speaking, a must win for the Vegas Wildcards.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say anything in recent history jumps to mind about anyone coming back from such a deficit down, but uh, LVG has to keep it out of their mind. They have to be treating this as game one still. They can't come in tight. We saw foul trouble
Yeah.
be a major factor in game one with Baylor getting pulled very early. And that's the one thing I'm going to keep an eye on here is seeing how Vegas has adjusted their aggressiveness because he got called for two illegal screens, and that's what got him in foul trouble.
Yeah, but we saw some sparks of uh, energy from Tyreek Murphy. St. Martin came in a couple times to lead the pack, and despite the fouling trouble from Brandon Baylor, the first game of his rookie year finals series, Wallstein and Robbins did everything that they could to keep it within, a mile distance for most of the game. I think those two players and Baylor will get together, have gotten together in the last 24 hours, worked their thing out. Hopefully, Baylor comes back even stronger in this game because they will need him to control some of the energy that has been coming from the Banger players. And, the Tides will look to be the spoiler alert of the 2024 season.
I mean, Bangor is playing with house money right now. They can play loose. They have the ability to come in and say, hey, we've already won the one game we needed to win. If we win two here, we're riding high. But if they walk away with a loss here, they're still going into the home stand with a lot of momentum behind them. Unless the only way that doesn't go their way is if LVG absolutely blows them out here.
I appreciate the gambling puns here in Vegas, Eastman.
That's what they pay me the big bucks for. And speaking of, the players are heading to the court.
Yeah.
Let's jump on down.
All right. They're ready.
And Vegas wins the tip off here.
Yeah, the game two of every series, not just this series, is the defining moment for any particular game, um, but more so for if you are the home team and you lose game one. And I don't want to say that the Wildcards can't do it. They do get the first score here, and it was a big three-pointer there from Warren Doyle to kick things off. They're just having to work that much harder to keep things in control so that they can go to Banger in game three and hopefully etch out their own road win.
Yeah, it's not an easy task ahead of them, even with
Oh,
a win here tonight. And like I said, Doyle getting that three early. I want to see him step it up in game number two here as the Wildcards have their backs up against the wall. And you saw Oakley there wide open underneath the basket, able to lay it up and in. Ooh, ball almost lost there from Baylor. You talked about game one. having a lot of issues with maintaining possession of the ball, and we'll have to see if they've made any adjustments here as Morrison from inside the paint, double team, getting a basket.
They're going to play a little bit more loose, I think. They probably saw that, ooh, well, maybe not.
Well, an illegal screen this time against Bangor, already a quick foul, and that's actually a turnover, loss of possession, so LVG needing to capitalize. But we saw them with the lead earlier in game one, and they lost it all in the second quarter.
That's true, and it was not to be outdone by a couple star players like Ash Van Zant and Felicia Ketaguri, who really led that pack in some crucial situations and kept their mistakes to a minimum, whereas Vegas, I think, just didn't know how to handle certain aspects of Bangor's their game plan.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm going to keep an eye on Ash in this game. He definitely started picking it up from beyond the arc in game number one, and now, we'll have to see if Vegas has made any adjustments. We saw a lot of double screens getting Ash open on the perimeter, and Vegas has to have an answer for that this game. They can't let him get going like they did game one.
I think they're sending up Murphy and Morrison at the moment, which is to be expected.
And they do at least answer with the bucket there.
But I think, going back to that Oakley shot to open up Bangor's scoring, those types of things, they kind of just have to let them go, especially so early here in the game. They can't get too tied up in the defensive mistakes. I think that's how Baylor comes back and plays a stronger role in this game.
Well, not just that, but, not falling into the defensive traps that Bangor had against Vegas in game one. We saw so many blocks coming out from the defense, and trying to go for a charge there, but the ref swallows their whistle. No foul called on the contact, and an easy lay-in for Bangor.
That's what they call breaking ankles.
I mean, I know players practice how to fall to avoid injury, but you got to be a little careful with that. And Oakley already his second foul now. Foul on Baylor, heading to the line for two. And, game one, the free throws didn't really factor in too much besides Matthew missing those two. I felt like everyone was pretty calm. But, of course, I jinx it there as Baylor missing one, and we saw Oakley heading to the bench.
Well, he didn't really head to the line much in that first game. And being such a physical player, being at the center for the wild cards, using his body in a lot of situations, I don't think maybe he knew exactly where he fit into the game plan 100% in that first game. I'm thinking in this second game, we'll see a different type of player come out and maybe fool Oakley a few times in the process. That would be a good sign of things having changed.
Back within 1 point here after that trip to the free throw line, Morrison. Difficult matchup, but if she can get a step around the defense, could make a lane to the basket, but no, forced to dish it back out to the perimeter. And a shot clock, it was such a problem in game one. Not able to get there, and Baylor, good fight in the post, is able to get a second chance and clean it up.
There we go. Yeah, we'll see how this dynamic plays out. Lindsay Morrison has so much experience on her pause as well, and was one of the key factors in keeping the wild cards in talking points up until the last minute of game one, where they kind of just couldn't get a couple good breaks. Look at that, though.
Baylor stepping it up in game number two here early. Well, and I kind of wrote off even Vegas at the end, but Morrison hitting a couple big threes kept them in it to the very end, and I want to see that range early here tonight as Kataguri hit a three in the game one, not able to get one in game two.
Yeah, they rely a lot on her for game management, but I didn't feel like she had much presence in a large portion of the game. So she needs to come out here and have better control of the ball as a team manager, for her to really get those opportunities to make long shots. And we'll see how this plays out. Still fairly early, still a lot of aggression. Kiyomi Inari, I could say the same thing for her too.
Yeah, game one, I mean, she really didn't need to stand out too much as Kataguri and Ash kind of helped carry. And I mean, not to say the rest of the team didn't either. MR, they spread the ball very well, but right now it's been Inari putting up the bulk of the points for Bangor and Baylor for Vegas. And speaking of AMR, early in the possession, but Kataguri going to clean up the missed shot and tie it up 16 apiece here.
All right. It's a game. We're actually here right now.
Yes, and it is a very close one. I mean, it looked like Vegas might have had the momentum starting to swing their way, but Bangor answering back immediately. Morrison, isolation down low. Inari stopping it there.
Good effort on their part.
Kataguri, quick play on the other end. Dish the ball down low in the post and dunking it down. And ooh, the main Wolf is continuing from where she left off in game one.
Yeah, I think I'm going to like her.
Baylor taking the ball himself from the three-point line into the paint and getting it to fall as well. And high field goal percentage for both teams here. But the Tides, when they don't turn the ball over, have pretty much made almost every shot. And of course, as I say that, missed opportunity there. And quick play, Murphy fouled on the way up by Kataguri. Had to stop that easy basket, at least make Murphy earn it from the free throw line.
Yeah, and even Kataguri is just like, what did you expect me to do there? I had to stop that.
I mean, you saw the Mouse had such a great lane driving to the basket, absolutely outsped everyone in the transition, as we see some subs coming in for both teams.
Well, and the energy flow of a game is one that changes absolutely at the flip of a coin. And so those lanes will open up, unintended misdirection, missteps, and sometimes you just gotta foul. It's the part of the game that everybody knows but doesn't want to be called out for.
Yeah, and again, back and forth we go, tie game. And the ISO play I'm not loving necessarily, but it does open up St. Martin, who's not known for his three game.
Yeah. Well, and then we have the Tale of Two Kings. I think there is still a lot to be said about that. But honestly speaking, the most crucial turnover there.
That ball got sent into the next time zone. The poor horse from last game, thankfully, spared this one, as that ball. That was a baseball triple at least in terms of how far that flew.
It looks like from replay that one just kind of knocked into the knee of one of the officials on the sideline. So, no big deal.
They had time to react to that. That ball was in the air for a good 3 seconds.
Helen Ariti.
Wallstein with the ball. Shot clock becoming a problem. O'Hara from beyond the arc is good.
All right.
St. Martin, feeling it on the defense after that last block. That is how you get going in terms of on defense, making your presence known, making players fearful of taking any kind of shot near you. Fletcher's going to get called for the foul from behind and send Bangor a chance for a three-point play off the and one to tie it back up.
I like what O'Hara has been able to do for the wild cards despite her short stature in keeping things rather, she has a very calm way of her game mechanics, and often fills in when necessary and can make those types of long shots, albeit she's not the one who's typically making them for the wild cards, but has, in her 4th year on the team, been able to step up when her name is called and perform well.
Yeah, again, I think Vegas needs their bench to step up if they're going to win. Bangor had enough bench presence. They outscored them and outscored the Vegas bench in game 1, and that was arguably the difference maker. It's
Right,
Fullerton.
and then some of those players that I mentioned, O'Hara, and then you want to talk about some of the like Couture. We didn't see much of them in that first game, and I think there was just a lot of fouling concerns. Oh,
Well, an absolute
man.
drive to the basket there, and it ends the possession with a massive dunk. And you're right, it felt like some of the Vegas players, disappeared in game 1 coming off the bench, and where Bangor's bench shined with category. And it doesn't require the entire bench to step up either. Sometimes it's just 1 or 2 players that needs to carry the offensive load while the starters are getting their rest.
Yeah, like Muldoon making that last shot there. I think he made a couple shots in the last game as well for the Tides. But it is the strength of your bench that can make or break a game. And you definitely don't want to lose to the away team's bench players
No,
on
you
home
don't.
court.
Ooh, big block by Muldoon. Getting it done on defense as well.
Overheard me talking about him and decided to perform a little. Gotcha. I gotcha.
I mean, the shot clock was your enemy, was also Vegas's enemy, but this time O'Hara absolutely attacking the basket, fast break, and able to score there. And it's been a back and forth game in this first quarter. I shudder to think how many ties and lead changes we've had already. Is almost 30 points scored here for both teams in this first 12 minutes of the game.
Well, I think I've got my first task for your statistician, which is what is the record for most game score or game lead changes in the FBA Finals game?
We will see them with that answer for us maybe by the end of the series if we're lucky.
Yeah, game X.
Game X. Game 4 potentially if Bangor wins here tonight. As the alley-oop is in, off, and ooh, Helen, that was a very risky to try. Just let the ball go out of bounds at that point. Don't try and be a hero and save it, because if it stepped on the line, that would have been a turnover.
Well, I think, but it had been deflected partially in mid-air by one of the Wild Cards teams, so they would have been up for it anyway. They would have had to reach out. It wouldn't have mattered.
Fair. I thought there was a complete mistiming and no one touched it, but you may have been right there. As final possession will belong to Vegas. Fletcher from beyond the arc. No good. Vegas ends the first quarter up by 2, but we've seen this before in game 1.
Yeah, and in general, everyone has played pretty cleanly to start. There have been a big couple blocks that, and some big assist, pick and rolls, so to speak. But I don't necessarily see anything pulling away just yet. Very competitive first quarter.
Ooh, great no-look pass to Oakley, wide open.
Tying it up to start quarter 2. Why not?
Yeah, and we're going to see some subs to get some of the starters back in on the floor. And, this has been such a close game. And, ooh, big block. Category. Possession will remain with Vegas, but that is a statement block there.
And we've seen these players come out from left field to take a baseball quote and slam away some of these high velocity balls, and it just goes to show the athleticism of these players and what they truly can bring in a series that matters like this. Wow.
Oh no, they're gonna say pause on the line, and that is the closest you can get to shooting a three without shooting a three. On top of having the defense draped all over him, Murphy, ooh, hopefully that 1 point does not come back to impact him. Ooh, Ash! They were giving him screens in the first game to get him open in the perimeter, and now they're using screens to get him open down in the post.
For what it's worth, they had a guy covering him. I think that was Wallstein. Just couldn't keep up.
Oh, and AMR, active pause in the passing lane, intercepts that one there. Gonna bring it up the court himself. Dishing it back to Mosburn. Category. Calling for the double screen. Down to Oakley in the post. Is able to get it over Wallstein, and Bangor takes the lead here.
Sending Oakley into the post a lot in this first half, and was able to, get just enough space between players in that double screen to stay open long enough to get the ball and make a quick alley-oop.
King around the screen, no good, but St. Martin going to get the second chance opportunity and one opportunity on top of that after category fouls.
And the coach is watching with concern, no doubt.
Well, we saw Oakley get 2 fouls early in the first quarter, and we saw, get subbed out there. And now category up to 2 fouls, and, they have enough of a rotation that they can afford to allow some fouls to trickle in, but when your two arguably best centers in game one, or best performing bigs in game one, already have 4 fouls between them, you start getting a little worried. AMR.
Yeah. It's the ebbs and flows of a game. It's still so close, but I would be a little bit hesitant to change anything right now. They both are capable players and rookies. They know how big this game is, and if you've been asking them to keep the physicality up, because you need to keep it up when you're at this close of a score, like Mosburn here, even when she's creating some space, has been getting into the paint before taking shots and working the floor.
Well, and talking about working the floor there, being able to generate space when you attack the post. Ooh, alley-oop attempt misguided there, and Robbins is going to save it from being a wasted possession. But you saw in that last Bangor possession that Mosburn was attacking the post, and that let AMR get open wide on the perimeter for that three. And I feel like that might be the game plan for Bangor Knights: attack the post to open up the perimeter.
And they're setting up a similar play here too.
Yep. ISO driving the lane, decides to take the shot off the glass, is good. 8 minutes left to go in the first half of this game, and it's still tit for tat for both teams.
Oh man, Ivy.
Well, and we saw in game one, it really came down to Bangor having 2 very big runs and Vegas going cold, and that's what gave them the win. Even then, Vegas was very close, and that's a late foul called on contact. That's close. That was well after the shot was up.
The crowd is mildly unimpressed. Let's say.
I'm hoping that's only 2, because that was very close to the 3-point line. Because if this is a 3 free throw attempt, no, they signaled 2. Yeah. Still, either way, I don't feel like the contact impacted the shot attempt at all. But still, they're going to call that. And Robbins trying to bully her way against Oakley, not able to get the basketball though.
Man, she's not getting those close shots in, and not necessarily even getting that much pressure on those first shots, working harder to get the rebound than she is to get the shot after the rebound in. And now they're down 6, and we're seeing it's almost like a deja vu take place.
Yeah, Bangor, I may have cursed Vegas here as they've started to go on a bit of a run. And Vegas is starting to go on a bit of a cold streak. Speaking of Osborne, top of the key, trying to get a play drawn up, calling for the screen. Ash. Shot clock becoming his enemy, gonna have to take a shot from beyond the arc.
Ooh.
And still
Wow.
converts it.
Oh boy.
This is a problem for Vegas. I would not be shocked if they called timeout, but no, they want to keep the pressure up. And Morrison, a very high teardrop, able to lay it in. And there you go, field goal percentage, almost 70% for the Tides here.
Well, and you saw Morrison get under the hoop essentially and throw a destiny shot up in the air that really is not the kind of shot you want to take, but the one you have to make in that particular position of the floor. And I don't think she was quite in the right position that she wanted to be in, but that's where we're at this point of the game. You don't want to let Bangor start to run away here, and they're getting at least somebody under the hoop there. Robbins has just been the one letting the ball fall through her own paws.
Robin, how do you lose the rebound battle to Andrew? I mean, good timing, good boxing out. Yeah, that happens.
A gust of wind.
I will. Andrew has a great vertical, as we've seen in the dunk contest. But
One flat roll.
Yeah, well, Ivy, you need to pull down the board. One-on-one like that. Ooh, a charging foul. Loss of possession there.
And guess who it was on?
Yep. Exactly.
So the Vegas Bigs have a new problem in this second game, and I'm just mildly concerned.
Yep, and they were able to finally put a stop to Bangor, but now the momentum has swung, and there we go. The timeout finally coming in. Oakley and Baylor both coming out high efficient for their teams. What changes does Vegas need to make here to stop this bit of a run we're seeing?
Yeah, I don't know if you put Robbins out for a couple minutes here or not, because we've seen just a variety of different issues come up with bigs for Vegas in the first game, and actually they're going to pull the guards, switching them out for Morrison and O'Hara, I believe it was. So I guess they need a little bit of more of a spark of energy from their guards to come through right now.
And I'm going to go ahead and say defense. Defense needs to be shut down. We're high field goal percentage for Bangor. And, oh, not boxing out. Oakley going to get the second chance opportunity there. 51 already scored for Bangor. They are well above pace to match their Game 1 performance. And Vegas is not keeping pace.
Yeah, and Bangor is having the time of their life right now, performing for the cameras. You don't want that to be happening on home court.
No, you don't. And like I said, the fans need to get some energy as well, I feel like, as you hear the defense cheering.
Kevin Oakley is having a good time.
Yeah, King. She's stacking the basket up in the air. Or Nolan. O'Hara are going to be the one to come down with it.
Yeah, somehow 5'10" O'Hara was able to block that shot from Naima King. Battle of the fittest. Getting some defense there from your shortest player on the roster is always a little bit concerning for what it's worth, but it gets them within 10 again. So we'll take it.
Yes, and in fact within 7 after that set of free throws. Still, more defensive stops needed for the Wildcards if they really want to close this gap before the second half wraps up. And if I'm the coach of Vegas, I want to see this within a one-possession game. I don't necessarily want to push my team to have the lead, but play smart and let's get this lead down to a 3-point maximum before we go into the half.
Oh, absolutely. And they've proven that they can take uh, threes from anywhere on the court with a little bit of isolation. We've seen that from Van Zant. We've seen that they like sending Oakley into the paint. Start getting a better understanding of what they like to do, so that when they have kind of times of the game like this where some of the bench comes out to relieve those players, you're able to take advantage of it. I haven't seen that just yet. They are keeping up. They're within 7. But they've also brought out some of their bench players too. Like Aridi here getting that layup. That might be their way to get back to within, as you said, a 3-point.
Yeah, and what I want to see from Vegas on defense is I want to see them force Bangor to take tough shots as the shot clock winds down. And that's going to come in from being able to beat the screens, because right now they aren't beating the screens. They're letting Bangor get the separation they need for easy shots. And even that last position, they were able to at least collapse before. And Wallstein, the alley-oop, calls for it.
Okay. Yeah, Inari did, it was a one-on-one situation, but I didn't see anyone else anywhere close to the paint. And that's a problem.
And Baylor going to foul there, but that's only his first, and we'll send Oakley to the line for 2. Good on the first.
And when I say things like that's a problem, I'm speaking in the context of where we are at in the game. This is still a very, very close game. We have too much time on the clock left.
Oh,
but
yeah.
You don't want to seem this in danger, of course, on home court. And I think that's not a great place to be at with a minute and a half left in the second quarter, because you're going to send a lot of people into the halftime with a lot of questions that don't have answers.
Yeah, great screenplay there. Got Baylor wide open and just dished the ball by O'Hara. And I mean, you're right. You want your team to be confident going into the second half. And this is not the situation. Ivan open for 3, but Oakley again gifted a second chance, but blocked by Baylor.
And you know what? A good thing to speak about with regards to the wild cards, Baylor has been having a much better game so far.
Well, he's been on the floor. It's a lot easier to have a good game when you're actually able to play. Considering game 1, he left so early in the first quarter because of those fouls.
Yeah, I'm hoping he's worked out some of those rookie nerves. He made Oakley fight for that one, but it still goes in.
I mean, Oakley, it's been the Oakley-Baylor show tonight in the post, and obviously some other players chiming in, but ooh, okay, Muldoon going to get called for the foul there. I was a little worried about Baylor maybe getting called, but nope, they're going to say it was Muldoon who knocked over the screening player.
And it's actually Matthew Dupuis who's going to come in to replace Oakley, and then we see Baylor coming out for St. Martin. So the Oakley-Baylor show is on hiatus right now, Ryan.
It's just the mid-season break. They'll be back.
All right. Well, it's 22 seconds left.
Hey, those could be the longest 22 seconds of our lives if they keep fouling, but does not look like it. Bangor up by 5. Vegas.
They do have. Yeah. They have 10 seconds here to get within 3, and I think that's a great place to be going into half.
No doubt, and I mean, maybe even try and cut it down to 2 if they get a 3, but no, double screen, attacking, putting it up, but not enough time, and I would have liked maybe a second earlier so that Ivy could have fought for that offensive board a little bit earlier, but Bangor, once again, in the second quarter, on the road, takes a lead. And it's, again, by 5. Remember, game 1 was also a 5-point lead going into the second half.
So is this a different game, or am I just reliving the past?
This is Groundhog's Day, and anything Vegas does apparently does not result in a good first half, is what we're learning. But maybe they've learned something about the second half.
So this is canine torture.
Yes.
How could you?
I know. I'm evil. Marcus says it all the time. But diving in, Baylor, 11 points. Again, stepping up in this game compared to first game's performance. And there's no one player that's really completely fallen off for Vegas. They're shooting reasonably well. It's just Bangor is shooting better.
And that's not a dangerous place to be at. Of course, you don't have to worry about Baylor this time. He has no fouls on his conscience going into the half. So you can focus a little bit more on getting those finite fundamentals worked out. Maybe getting some control over Kevin Oakley, who has 14 points in 15 minutes and 6 rebounds. Working the paint has been the struggle, and I think Ivy Robbins might be the one to point at first in that regard, but we'll see how they mix things up with the bigs on the wild card side going into the second half. They have not as much flexibility as you've spoken on in the past as the Tides do. But when it comes down to it, it's the Tides are playing just slightly better right now. So let's focus in on what they're doing slightly better than us and attack where it hurts.
I mean, I think Vegas trying to get Oakley in foul trouble. He has two. It If they can get one or two early on him in this third quarter, maybe things start going their way. But even then, he has plenty of fouls to give, so it's tough to give him trouble. And Doyle, I want to see Doyle step up. We saw early, he had a 3 to start the game, and since then has been fairly quiet. But he will get an early start here with a trip to the free throw line.
Well, and Wallstein was there on the protection for Oakley, who did go right into the paint to start that first drive. But Wallstein held up well and was able to get the ball back without a score. And here now, Vegas getting some of the first points of this quarter as a result.
Yeah, and Baylor's back in once again. I think the coach wanted to give some final words that he was one-on-one wasn't able to give in the locker room necessarily, but Baylor now going to be matching up against Oakley. Good defensive stop there against AMR, trying to take a pull-up jumper from the free throw line. Morrison going to bring it up for Vegas. Down the Robbins, quick hook shot, no good, but great way getting around the defense to be able to put up a second chance bucket, and Vegas is back within one already here. And
Well,
Angel losing the ball.
Oh. Okay, Ivy, I see that.
Ivy, someone gave the Great Dane a Scooby snack during the halftime.
Well, and we were as critical as you might be with regards to the Vegas Bigs and Robin's performance in the first half. She always gives that second effort. And there was an example where that second paw up, the opposite paw, was the difference maker in getting that shot, and now they have the lead.
Yeah.
Just like that.
That was a bit of a Hail Mary from Brandon down in the post. Almost like granny style. I think it was an underhand shot that made its way through the defense. And once again, the defense is finally putting up some resistance against Bangor, and that's 3 stops in a row. And now, can the Wildcards take a bit of a lead here?
Well, it only takes a minute and a half to make up that difference. That's an unfortunate miss there, and we'll see if AMR does what. Yeah, Van Zant with that one, showing up.
It's a quick pass in transition is a great way to get a high percentage basket, and like I said, the Raccoon just hanging from the rim a little bit there, taking the lead back, and blocked there. Ash showing why he earned Defensive Player of the Year.
There's a reason why they call him the Shield.
And Murphy gonna get called on the foul, and one, and immediately Bangor is back up by 3 with a chance to push it to 4 here. And good. And the crowd has gone quiet once again. They were starting to get back in it, but...
Well, there's still a little bit of that post-halftime nonsense that's going on. I can't predict the future. I think here, as Morrison rolls up and gets blocked, you're going to see a little bit of this back and forth take place before we really get a full sense of whether the wild cards have figured something out that the Bangor Tides didn't have an answer for. If they're quick to reflex and the efficiency of the shots was a big issue for the wild cards, but they made those first three in quick succession. Lean in on a little bit of that, and I think you'll be able to cover these 4 points very fast yet again.
Well, Robbins taking a three is not how to do that. I mean,
right.
she can hit a three, but that is not a high percentage possession to go through.
Well, that might be nerves.
And Oakley, given the ball, not able to convert it there. He's got a bit quiet in terms of compared to his first half performance, and now Vegas just needs to capitalize. They are starting to shut down Bangor.
Baylor was half a step behind Oakley on that last shot drive. Luckily, Oakley didn't make the shot, but should have, and it would have been a huge momentum shift if he had.
It would have been, and now Oakley getting guarded on the perimeter, but dishing back to AMR, who calls for the screen, and AMR rattles home a long three, pushing it back to 7 now. And Wildcards have to call timeout. They caught a glimpse. Their head was above the water for a second, and now the Tides have come back in to try and smother them.
Well, Las Vegas isn't really used to water. They like to take more water than they get.
Hey, if anything, they know how to absorb it. Just straight into the sand.
Well, here we are. They're going to substitute Murphy out for King, and Couture will come in. We'll see what difference that makes here. They need to get some of these long threes down, though, at this point. They need to show that they can do that, and they don't need to send out Ivy Robbins to prove it.
Yeah, and again, Robbins, they're at least cleaning it up and getting some points from the possession. But they have to... Oh, they faked him out there with the... They tried to get around the pick and roll, but Mosborn just able to find an easy lane to the basket. There was a little confusion on the defense of who was covering her after the pick. No good on that possession. Bangor trying to take the reins here in this second game. This is a lot of pressure they're putting on the Wildcards here.
Yeah, and even with that particular defensive play, we've been talking about Robbins a lot, but some of the other defensive players were already moving off from the from around her, and it left things a little bit wonky. But I have to say they've been trying to get anything going, and then you have defensive plays like that, where Baylor gets shown up by category, and then you have to foul out a player to make anything work defensively. So take it, one step at a time, get a little bit more efficient, and I think you don't see a 9-point deficit. They just haven't had a real enough time to do that.
No, and a foul there, a legal screen, and ooh. That's going to be a loss of possession, and that is... LVG might need to call another timeout because they're about to be down by double digits here.
It's the second time we've seen that today. The first time, though, and give it to them. That was another great defensive act. But their guards are getting lost.
Ooh, another dangerous pass down low in the post. Bangor,
Oh man,
open lane of the basket, and a double-digit lead. LVG is, the fans must be sweating at this point.
got fooled by the players there. Yeah, I'm not surprised by this. Um, Out of position on that last drive. Very uncharacteristic for Vegas.
Yeah, it is getting a little concerning now in terms of how much they've landed. Yeah, both teams making mass substitutions.
Well, they've got to keep the energy alive here, and maybe that's the only way you do it. They're only keeping Fletcher on the court, but bringing out St. Martin, Couture, O'Hara. Under 5 minutes here to go, and sorry, was that category like looking at the hoop like, how dare you betray me?
A little bit, but again, they right now everything's going the Tide's way. Um, Vegas, it feels like they're barely hanging on at the moment.
I mean, they're within 10 now, and that's not to say in the next couple minutes here they go on a run, but I'm saying you've got so much time left to make up for these deficits as long as you don't let stuff like that happen.
Yep, and like I said, King able to get a quick basket under the hoop on the, and the Tides are not cutting back on the tempo at all. They are keeping the pedal to the metal, and as long as they keep it in control, they can be very dangerous. Ooh, great block there, King.
Yeah, Naima King, not a lot of minutes yet in this game, but making a huge, making use of the ones that she's been given, and having a really good game so far for the Tides.
But a bit of an unfortunate charge called against Ash there, gonna result in a turnover, and Vegas gets a second chance here to score. Wide open, St. Martin for three is good. I mean, when you're that wide open, you have to hit it, even if it's not your normal range.
That's the loudest I've heard the Wild Cards fans tonight. I think that was like a breath of fresh air, even if two of those three come back quite fast here. They're still at 60% shooting, Ryan.
Yes, that is the problem, is the defense showed up for half a minute in the first part of this quarter, and then the defense just disappeared. And ooh, a big foul there from Ash. That's his third, but you know, still 3 more to give before the foul out. And I feel like we're going to see the starters for Vegas have to come in pretty soon, just because of this kind of deficit. You can't afford to rest your starters when you're down by this much.
Yeah, I predict the fourth quarter we're going to see a much more aggressive approach, and it'll depend, of course, at how we end in this next 3.5 minutes. But they need to go into emergency management mode, I think, now rather than later, and create situations like that to at least, I know the crowd is booing at it, but at least give a chance to get 1 or 2 of those points back.
Oh, wow. A missed opportunity there to push it further. And you're right, the crowd, a bit of whiplash for the crowd. Their team was back in it for a second, and now suddenly they're down by bigger than they have been all game. And I mean, a bucket in the paint there will at least stem the bleeding a little bit, but they need to get the defensive stops and get Bangor's field goal percentage down from 60%.
Yeah, Vegas dribbled that ball into Dupuis' knee, which threw him for a moment, and it gave just enough space to get that under the paint shot. If anything, it was a little bit of a desperate move, but it paid enough dividends to keep this thing within 10. And St. Martin misses that one, though.
He hit one a minute ago, so I don't blame him for taking an open shot. But at the same time, it's like, okay, congrats. You might hit that 25% of the time, but is that what you need right now on your team?
Well, as you said, they don't have their starters out right now.
Here's the thing, Matt. This is Vegas. I expect players in Vegas to know the odds. and to play the odds. And playing the odds is attacking the paint just like that as Wallstein able to get the bucket. But no, they have not been chipping away at this lead at all, though. In fact, Bangor, ooh, that was a very...
Well, there. Okay.
A chance here, finally. Fletcher. Spin move.
Gotta take these shots when you get them.
Yeah, we'll get a foul and head to the line for 2 to try and chip this back to 6 with 1:46 left to go in this third quarter.
Yeah, I think they're playing this last couple minutes here of the third quarter safe at the moment, maybe a little bit too safe, but they can afford, I guess, a couple minutes here to let those starters rest up so that when we get to the fourth quarter, if we keep this within 6, they'll be in a position to do something like they did to open the third quarter, get a few quick shots in, and then we won't be talking this way anymore. We'll be talking about whether Bangor can get the lead back.
Well, they need to get the lead, but also hold the lead. And as you hear, the crowd is finally getting back in it, and they need to stay in it. But every time the crowd gets going, Bangor shuts them up.
Yeah, and that was Philip Fullerton of all players.
I mean, he's chimed in with a couple baskets every so often when needed, but ooh, Wallstein getting the second chance back to Fletcher. Fletcher knocks over the
Giving
defender.
It back to Fletcher. Woo.
Yeah, I mean, Wallstein perhaps had the veteran insight not to try and go for it herself and to give it to the open fur, but defense, how that pause all over them, still able to make that bucket, and that's just so hard for Vegas because Vegas is doing great defense at times, and it's just not getting the impact that they want. And wide open screen,
that
drive to the basket.
Those are the types of things that you just need to do to prove that you can take this lead back. I don't even care if it wasn't, the cleanest lane that you've ever seen open or the widest. It's just that you have the ability to get that kind of thing on Bangor so that when, players like King come back with a layup, you don't feel like you're always playing against somebody who's just slightly better than thou, doing these types of things. They're going to let the clock run out here to get one last shot in, I think, Ryan.
Yeah, with less than a second separating it, they just want to have the last bucket. They don't want to give it to Bangor and let them possibly have a 10-point lead. It's going to be Fletcher from beyond the arc, not able to convert, and Bangor extends their lead they had in the first half by 3 more here. And now Vegas, they're 12 minutes away from staring down a 2-0 disadvantage unless they can put something together here and take this game back in their own possession and take it all the way to Bangor, tied at least.
Yeah, slightly worried. Going to remain cautiously optimistic, of course. I've seen sparks of hope, as I mentioned at the beginning of this broadcast, but really, this is not the type of energy you want to be carrying into the fourth quarter, where they've been down like half, 4 of the 6 quarters.
Well, and even if they're missing, Robbins back on the floor is able to get a second chance opportunity, and Robbins has really been, their life preserver here today. They're in the middle of the desert, but they are drowning right now, and it's Robbins coming in clutch with those second chance opportunities.
Great Dane has, the body and the wherewithal to carry certain streaks of hope, but that pass and stuff like that from your other teammates is just going to create opportunities for Bangor to get a quick 2 and keep this thing, close to 10 points, it's technically 8 points right now. And here they are.
Baylor wide open. Oh, he got rejected by Kevin.
Evan Oakley. There's the thorn in the side. AMR.
Bangor as a whole has just been a thorn. Anytime one player seems to start to struggle, another steps up, and Vegas just has had no way of answering. And no, there we go. Double 2-on-1. Robbins not able to get it, but she gets her own miss. Double teamed is not enough for Bangor to double team her in the paint. Now she has 14 total points. She needs 25 at this rate to get Vegas
12
back
of those
in
are
it.
in the paint.
Yeah. I think the other 2 came from the free throw line. Baylor, you have to. It's a lot of pressure on the rookie. And oh no, Inari blocked by Robbins at least. Doyle against Category,
Nope.
blocked. Inari getting a fast break up the other end. Oakley makes way.
Category has had a couple mistakes in the game, but has largely proven once again that she is playing a demonstratively important part in why this team is in the finals, and is able to rely on her as a bench starter so efficiently there.
Ooh.
But maybe not.
Oh, that was a little bit of a hard foul. That was getting dangerously close to maybe being called a flagrant. Only 2. It doesn't matter, though. Double digits with a chance to push it to 12.
That was a little bit showboaty. And those are the types of things that I take to heart. Because, you know, when you have this kind of thing going on in game 2, that can be a mental shift that needed to happen.
Yep, and it is 9 points here. And if Vegas was making strides to close the gap, well, that's one way, is to get a turnover. And 1-on-2, Doyle just going to lay it up and in easy.
Doyle was almost shocked that the ball was in his paws for a half second there before finally like, okay, I guess I'm just going to go and make the shot.
Well, and he even with that half second delay, he took it the whole way, and another miss there from Bangor. Vegas, a chance to finally do something.
Morrison
not able to get the fadeaway, though.
But we need to see her get involved in the offense here late in this, it's not that late in the fourth, but late in the game.
I mean, 8 minutes left is late, even in the fourth quarter. I mean, a third of the quarter is gone, and you've whittled a 10-point lead or 8-point lead to, well, it's back to 9 now. So really, you've made no progress in 4 minutes.
Well, we're back to the Baylor-Oakley show, and Baylor just, again, leaving a little bit too much space there, and Oakley takes advantage of that, and his shooting has been near perfect in this game.
I don't know if you just saw, they double-teamed Robbins in the post, and she still took it to the basket herself to score.
But, 50% shots made from Robbins, according to where our statistician is giving me those stats.
Well, if it's better than the rest of the team, I mean, not necessarily the rest of the team, but parts of the team. And a charging foul. Baylor selling the charge. The big bear falling to the ground gets a little help from the ref, I feel. But either way, they'll take it.
Where did he learn that one?
I mean, you're not used to seeing the point guard get called for the charge against a center of all things. Usually it's the other way around. And oh my goodness, a little bit of payback is immediately another charge. How many acting classes have these players taken?
Well, I think you can sense the ambiance, the aura is shifting, and we're getting a little bit restless, and you're seeing it come out on both sides.
Well,
and Vegas, I think, is just getting generally frustrated. They have been down about this amount for the last 20 minutes.
They have not had a lead since the first quarter, I believe. They might have had one shortly in the second, but it has not been anything in their favor. And Baylor able to get the second chance opportunity and a third
he's gotta
chance.
Get this one.
He is going to force it himself. 5 points now.
it ain't over till Inari passes this ball to someone.
Well, I
Or
was gonna
Jason
say,
Morris.
oh my, and Baylor gonna come and foul and get an and one. It
Coach on
is.
his
Yeah, coach isn't happy.
feet.
Neither coach is happy.
When is a coach ever happy?
When they retire.
I feel like even when we interview these guys, I don't know about you, but in post-game conferences show so dry and really just the same stuff regurgitated ad infinitum.
I am here so I don't get fined. Doyle left wide open. Great court vision from Morrison to find Doyle open in the mid-range.
Warren Doyle is somebody who we haven't seen a whole lot of, like you said, since the first shot of the game, making a really good three-pointer, but has come through at key points to keep this drive alive, and now this is a huge moment here for the Wildcards. If they can get some points here, Morrison.
She got by the defender with her speed, and Angel forced a foul. And oh, the foul maybe rattled her a little bit.
Here's another question I have, as somebody who didn't, play the sport, but is a sports commentator. They missed the foul, right? Or they missed the 1 point. And then they high-five each other. It's like, congrats, you did it.
It is a someone who has not played the sport any kind of high level. It is a rhythm and a routine.
So what you're telling me right now is that they don't even know what's going on score-wise.
No, they know what's going on score-wise. They just, you don't make the player feel bad that they just missed a free throw, as Morrison able to hit a big two there, but still a 5-point game, and the field goal percentage has not really dropped all that much for Bangor. They're still shooting 55% plus with under 5 minutes left to go here, a 5-point difference, and you don't really feel like LVG's closing the gap at all here.
It doesn't feel that way, but they have closed it a little bit, and it's at a point where it's still obviously a winnable game, and that is a huge difference in terms of just where we were talking 10 minutes ago at the start of the fourth quarter. So I wouldn't say anything needs to change in this regard for the Wildcards. They just need to keep on doing what they're doing, take advantage of those missed shots when they come, and even if they got one three-pointer, now they're within three. I'm seeing a lot more activity from the Wildcards as we get close here to the 4-minute mark.
Yeah, but they have not really shut down Bangor. That's my concern. They have, yes, at moments closed the gap a little bit, but Bangor is always that is a very illegal screen, Oakley. You cannot be trying to move your feet. That is perhaps a little bit of nerves coming in for the third-year player.
He was playing out of position.
Well, he tried to extend his leg to get a good screen, but that's just a turnover now and a foul added to him. But he's fine. He's got, I think, 4 fouls, and with 4 minutes left to go, it's gonna be hard to foul out. But now Vegas a chance to tie it with a 3 if they decide to go that route, or they'll keep attacking the paint. Morrison gonna get her own miss. No good on the second chance.
You only get those 2 shots on average.
Not even average.
No.
A juke move. Inari, absolutely broken ankle there. 18 points. She was very quiet in game 1, but here she is in game 2.
We haven't been talking much about the offensive successes of the Bangor Tides, but she is definitely one that has stepped up from game 1, showing that she's worth every single minute that she's on the court and holds her ground when needed to.
And here's the thing for Vegas. Yes, you're close, but the clock keeps ticking, and as you are not comfortable down by 5, Yes, it's
Morrison
goes.
was
Oh,
wide.
they lose track of Morrison. The defense fell asleep there.
That was the simplest shot she's going to get tonight. She can't let that throw her.
In the
This is
crowd.
now, yeah. Oh no.
Well, Rainbow,
Luck.
a little too open. Misses that opportunity there, and a quick play to Doyle. Doyle, when the pressure is high, oh, he can't convert it, rattles out. 2 minutes and some change left to go, and 3-point game. This is the loudest I've heard the crowd.
Okay. Robbins with the rebound. And Morrison
Calling
between
for the
those
screen.
two.
Look who's open on the perimeter. Murphy is good, and the game is tied.
Where did he come from?
The defense just lost track of him, and he was standing in the corner wide open, and Morrison, great core awareness to dish it after driving to the post. And now Bangor, I would honestly call timeout almost.
Unsung hero from the mouse coming in for that 3-point shot. We haven't heard much from him today. That was absolutely the kind of energy they needed to bring in.
And now a chance to take the lead for the first time in a very long time for the wild cards. It's going to be Baylor.
No.
Blocked! Fast break
Brandon,
the other way.
No. Brandon, no.
AMR gets the basket to fall. 90 seconds left to go.
We start inserting dangerous territory when we talk about getting the lead back after so long and letting your rookie be in control of the ball here down under the hoop.
He has the confidence to still go for it. And again, he's had a great night, 8 of 14. That one block, though, might come back to haunt them. Is less than a minute left to go here. Game tied. Oakley with the ball.
Okay.
Not defense double teaming him, not able to convert it, and now Vegas. You have to be smart about this possession. You cannot walk away empty-handed. Back to the rookie. He's off the glass. Is good, and Tides will call their second to last timeout with 42 seconds left to go.
Morrison and Baylor are in sync tonight. That is the difference between last night and right now.
Yeah, Baylor getting to play a full game is definitely helping out. And, you know, Oakley has not silenced himself either in terms of, his production, but he has not had an answer for the Big Bear. And now, Bangor, what do? You have to score.
Naima King can get the separation, but Kevin Oakley has been their go-to guy tonight, getting under the paint. It's going to be the defense of the Vegas Wildcards that makes the difference here, and he's not making these shots.
Yep, that's 2 missing. They're going to foul. They know they have to foul here. The shot clock was too close. With 2 seconds separating, there is no chance. They have to foul. And they're going to have to hope for a 1 miss and 1 make at best. If Morrison can hit both, it might seal the game here. Good on the first.
Morrison looks calm and composed. I'm almost shocked.
Perfect on the second. Tides call timeout. 4-point game. And Baylor, you see, hyping up the crowd after his showing in the last 2 minutes, pulling the team ahead.
And the team is re-energized after what has been largely the Bangor Tides dominating this game. We're going to see what happens here in the next possession. It's going to be a huge possession for the Tides. If they can get just any sort of shot off here.
It needs to be a 3 in my opinion, but they're trying to... Yes.
Well, they're setting it up. Oh.
It is no good, and I mean, they're going to have to foul here, but even then it's
over.
It is pretty much over. It would take 2 misses, a uncharacteristic 3, and a foul, and that's assuming Murphy misses 1, and Murphy is good on the first, and with no timeouts.
Relieved. Yeah. Everyone's on their feet. This needed to happen. Everyone knew it needed to happen. I'm shocked that it did happen in this exact fashion and so late in the fourth. Kevin Oakley getting
Well,
I
well,
guess a moment to pretend that he still could.
well, back to the puns. Vegas basically was down the entire time, all in, and flopped the perfect card basically to come out ahead at the last possible second, to save possibly this series. As we see, it was a team effort. Obviously, everyone scoring. Definitely felt like Baylor and Robbins. Robbins almost putting up 20 rebounds. Fletcher coming off the bench,
Well,
and that may have been the difference maker. Was Fletcher and O'Hara putting up more points off the bench to help?
there wasn't a huge defensive effort in the blocking for most of the game. But for the wild cards to spread the ball around and keep things fresh and interesting, that might have been the difference maker here. The Tides really didn't know how to answer that. But there's a little bit of um, a chance to say that the Tides put up a really excellent game here, and has really put forth a little bit of concern, I think, in the wild cards as we go forward. The series is tied, but what does the energy to that whole situation do when you have players like Kevin Oakley, Ash Van Zant's first game performance was so dominant, um, and then defensively speaking, uh, Ivy Robbins more or less having to clean up some of the messes that the wild cards players were making, the mistakes in game one, especially. We'll have to see.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna point out LVG. It did not walk out of this game, I think, confident. They almost lost. This game was a very losable game in the last 3 minutes. They had to 32 to 18. That's how many points they had to score in that final quarter to win. 32 to 18. That
Yeah,
is not something you can expect to do every game.
and 22 offensive rebounds, versus 10 for the Tides. At some point, that's a little bit lucky that the Tides weren't playing a closer defense under the paint, like the Wildcards were trying to do with Banger early on and weren't able to capture. But had better control over, the mistakes, less of a problem tonight. And honestly speaking, both teams shooting fairly well. Uh, but, you know, 28 second chance points versus 8 for
Well,
the
not just that,
Tides.
but six more free throws. Six free throws more was the difference maker. Uh,
Right.
and Bangor, we talked about, had like 57% field goal percentage late into the fourth quarter. They just fell apart. They tripped at the finish line, and Vegas managed to squeak by them. And uh, you know, Bangor is gonna be riding high no matter what.
Well, and so I think the message that Banger takes away from this game too specifically is that yeah, you played a little bit more aggressive in the fourth quarter because you knew wild cards would be coming out aggressively to try and take the lead back, and that caused these situations where they were taking more free throws, and that's what it came down to at the end of the game. So you take that information forward with you to home court, win both your home court games, and then of course you have an excellent advantage in game five, which we now know it's not going to be a shutout series, thankfully, but it is the Bangor Tides who have a little bit of an advantage here going into game three as we head to the East Coast.
A little bit of advantage. I'm calling it in. I'm calling it in five at this point. After what I've seen after two games here, um, unless Vegas has an epiphany between tonight's game and the next game on the road, which they'll have one day off before playing in Bangor. Um, this they needed to show me tonight a comfortable win. They showed me grit,
Mm-hmm.
but Bangor had their number for so long, and it would be one thing if Bangor had like a run at any point. Bangor was dominant for 3 quarters, and then the fourth quarter finally they started to fall off the wheels. Vegas played well all 4 quarters, and they just happened to not blink first.
True that. And as someone who's watched many a game in my time and watched many a series take play, you don't ever really want to lose a home game in the finals. So we're speaking from that experience, but of course they know that. And I think that's the energy shift that can make or break a team. So the wild cards being here in their first, uh, I guess, home field advantage in a finals, and really have everything to lose, don't want to um, go into the next game uh, looking like they don't have everything under control, even if it's not. But I'll be staying here, and you'll be heading along with Marcus Baylor to give us some highlights and action for the next game.
Yes, and what I need to see from I need Vegas to come into game 3 and show why they came out on top in the West. Vegas has to win one of these games on the road. They cannot afford to come back down 3-1. Even if they're going to play at home, coming back down 3-1 is not an easy mountain to climb,
Well,
especially when you're in the desert.
I'm gonna let you figure that out with someone who's going to be much more of a fanboy of Las Vegas than myself. So,
Well, thank you everyone for joining us once again. That was Matt Lewis. I'm Ryan Eastman. We will see you in Bangor for game number 3. Have a good night.